let's talk about lesbians. Before we begin, let me clarify. This will not be a myth, but true, wonderful, influential history. Now let's travel back in time, approximately 2,500 years ago. On the island of Lesbos, or Lesbos as it is often pronounced in English, lived the Greek Poetess Sappho. Sappho was renowned during her time and long after her death as an incredible poet. However, she was really what today we would consider a singer-songwriter. Sappho wrote lyrical poetry. The lyrical part and the word lyrics come from the ancient Greek and refer to the lyra, the musical instrument that would accompany the poem's lyrics. Sappho was so famous and influential that Plato referred to her as the 10th muse. When Solon, the famous Athenian lawmaker, was asked why he wanted to memorize the lyrics of one of her poems, he said, "Because once I've learned it, I can die." People would simply refer to her as the poetess, and everyone would know that you were talking about Sappho. Her influential words traveled across Greece and the known world and mesmerized lovers of her poetry. The Roman poet Catullus, over 5 centuries after her death, adapted a famous song of hers about erotic frustration into Latin. And yet very little has survived of her poetry. We unfortunately only have on one full poem and several fragments which combined are considered to represent only about 10% of her writing. In one of those fragments that we have of her poetry, Sappho writes, "Again, love, the loosener of limbs, rattles me, bittersweet, irresistible, crawling beast." These beautiful few verses were the first recorded use of the term bittersweet to describe the highs and lows of love. But as great as Sappho is, how does any of this link Sappho, the island of Lesbos, and the use of the term lesbians to describe romantic love between women? Well, Sappho's overarching theme of her poetry was about romantic love between women. Through her poetry, she gifted us with moments dear to her memories, moments of lost or unrequited love with women to whom she gave her heart. In one poem, she describes the sorrow of her partner's departure. She tells her to remember the times they had and how in soft beds she had satisfied her desire. Her poetry became the most important and perhaps the first and only for centuries representation of female romantic love. So much so that female homosexuality was named after Sappho's birthplace. Lesbians, aside from the residents of Lesbos, as a term is a tribute and an allusion to Sappho, the same way as our activities that are considered sapphic. Through her eternal words that offer themselves to understand and celebrate female love, Sappho became the symbol of female homosexuality. She once wrote, "The muses have filled my life with delight, and when I die, I shall not be forgotten. And I say to you, someone will remember us in time to come." How right she was. Sappho will never be forgotten. Thank you for watching.